Hello, welcome to Spectrum News at 2. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu to attend Guinea-Bissau's 50th independence anniversary Thursday. Reps call for awareness programs for PWDs. Plus, UK Supreme Court rules Rwanda asylum policy unlawful. We'll bring you details of these stories and more in a moment. We'll begin the news this afternoon with Nigeria's leader, President Bola Tinubu, who is scheduled to join other heads of state and governments in Guinea-Bissau on Thursday to celebrate the country's 50th independence anniversary and Armed Forces Day. A terse statement by Tinubu's media aide, Ajurin Galale, noted that the president will arrive in Bissau on Thursday for the ceremony, which will be hosted by President Umaru Embalo. The statement added that after the event, Tinubu will return to Nigeria on the same date. Recall that Guinea-Bissau marked its 50th independence anniversary on September 24, 2023, but the government had scheduled all celebrations for November 16, 2023. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has said that poverty is not a shameful thing, but it is unacceptable in Nigeria under his leadership. Tinubu made this known at the 55th International Conference Exhibition and Emerald Anniversary of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, with the theme Sustainable HR Business and National Development. The president, who was represented by the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Nkiru Onyejacha, noted that in the face of global challenges, his administration is committed to steering Nigeria towards self-reliance and reducing dependency on others. Commenting on the roles of HR practitioners, Tinubu said it was crucial in molding and effectively managing people to become catalysts for economic resurgence in an increasingly competitive and changing world. In the meantime, the Vice President, Kashim Shettima, has said that President Bola Tinubu is committed to improving the lives of vulnerable Nigerians in the country. Shettima stated this at the Presidential Villa Abuja while receiving a comprehensive report from the Presidential Committee on Flood Mitigation, Adaptation, Preparedness and Response. Describing the report as a testament to President Tinubu's commitment to the renewed hope agenda, the Vice President stated categorically that the Tinubu administration is focused on improving the socio-economic conditions of Nigeria's most vulnerable communities. He also directed the committee to present the report to the National Economic Council (NEC) for further deliberations and possible ascension by the Council. Away from that, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the Arab League have selected Nigeria as part of a special delegation mandated to initiate immediate international action to halt the ongoing war in Gaza. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, made this known in a statement. According to Tuga, the selection was communicated to Nigeria by the Royal Embassy of Saudi Arabia in Nigeria in Abuja. Tuga said the decision was taken in furtherance to the resolution adopted at the Joint Arab-Islamic Extraordinary Summit on Israeli aggressions against the Palestinian people, which took place in Riyadh on Saturday. At the summit, Tuga said Nigeria stood firmly with the two-state solution prescribed by the UN to help bring a stop to the Israeli-Palestinian war. Now from the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives has urged the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, as well as religious organizations, to launch extensive awareness campaigns to address the Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities, PWDs. This followed the adoption of a motion by Bashiru Dawodu during plenary in Abuja. Moving the motion, the lawmaker emphasized the importance of sensitizing the public about the rights and inclusion of persons with disabilities. Adopting the motion, the House called for immediate action by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation and religious organizations to sensitize the public about the discrimination against PWDs. The House also called on states in the Federation to domesticate the law within their borders and mandate the Committee on Disabilities to ensure compliance. In a separate development, members of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) have been advised to utilize the opportunities of their 3-week orientation course to foster national unity and integration among themselves, irrespective of tribal and religious differences. The NYSC Director General Brigadier General Y.D. Ahmed gave the advice in his address to the 2023 Batch C Stream 1 Corps members undergoing orientation at Kaduna State Temporary Orientation Camp at Government College, Komi Mashi, Kaduna. He urged them to accept their deployment to Kaduna State in good faith, warning them against night traveling, as well as appealing to the Corps members to always be security conscious. On labor matters, the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC), Akwa Ibom State and other affiliate unions yesterday cordoned off the federal and state secretariats, as well as the High Court in Barracks Road and other public establishments of government as protests and strike against the alleged beating of NLC President Joe Ajaero and other unmet demands of labor commenced. Speaking at the protest grounds at the Idonga Secretariat, the chairman of NLC, Akwa Ibom State Branch, Sonny James, explained the imports of the indefinite strike and labor's grievances, especially in relation to Ajaero's maltreatment in Imo State.
It is politics. There is nothing under the head that is not politics. And therefore, what NLC did cannot be regarded as politics. What we did was merely asking Hobu Sodima to make sure he respect the agreement, he freely entered with organized labor in 2021. And therefore, for him to refuse, we had every right under the law to do a mass protest in Imo State. On the said date, we arrived 31st October 2023. Nigeria Labour Congress arrived in Imo State. I am saying authoritatively, and I want to be quoted, that I was an eyewitness at the point Jojo was beaten, because I was there. I'm not telling what people said it happened. Everybody should also inform me. If you are being owed salaries, your father going to collect the debt from another person that owed you, and upon arrival, your father was beaten by whatever person that was there. Will you be happy to see your father beaten that way? No! Akwa Ibom workers are joining other workers in Nigeria to say enough.
To the NLC state helmsman, at the state level, the government has done well in some aspects, but must review lagging areas for overall benefit of the state's workforce. He also explained that calling off the strike will be dependent on how swiftly the government will ensure justice for the fate that befell the NLC president and other outstanding areas.
We shall do our own special strike to ensure that justice is done in Akwa Ibom State. Is that not you speaking? Is not you speaking? We are also aware 2023 promotions have not been carried out in Akwa Ibom State. 2022 promotions, some places have not been implemented. We shall continuously engage the government who have put themselves into a team of not willing to listen to Nigerian workers. As we speak right now, it is the only Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress that is left for all Nigerians to speak true. We are the fathers of faith.
Also speaking, some labor leaders at the event called on the government to begin to show accountability to the earnings of the country's workforce to reflect the biting economic realities in the country of present.
labor's rights have been violated in Imo State when the NLC leader was violently beaten and embarrassed. That is an anomaly. It cannot be tolerated anywhere in the world. Then added to that is an agreement that the government reached with Labour. The MOU that was signed on October 2nd, 15-point agenda. None of them have been implemented as we speak. Labour have to act. And what do? We strike. That's the only way we can speak our language that government should understand.
And Art Workers Union, Akwa Ibom State Council. My dear brother, why we are having this strike is one. Since the first time that the president, on his first speech, he made an address, and the address that changed everything in the country, talking about the taking off of the fuel subsidy, and with that single word and otherwise changed everything in the country. And after that, the trade union, the NLC, all the organized labor, met the government to arrange and see how they can ameliorate these stress that the laborers are passing through, or not just the laborers, the citizens are passing through.
The strike comes on the heels of the alleged physical assault NLC National President George Iro was subjected to in Imo State 2 weeks ago, when he and other NLC members visited the southeast state for a demonstration over non-payment of salaries and pensions for 44 months in violation of other labor rights. In the meantime, an endocrinologist in the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital UUTH, Dr. Ubong Omorin, has called on the public to regularly check their glucose levels so as to know their diabetes status. Dr. Morin made this known in an interview with Spectrum Television in commemoration of the World Diabetes Day. The endocrinologist, who disclosed that about 85 to 90% of people live with type 2 diabetes, highlighted some risk factors to include sedentary lifestyle, obesity, among others. According to him, consumption of food with more protein and fiber, as well as reduction of alcohol intake, will help prevent or manage diabetes disease.
Some people that have diabetes don't know that the theme for the World Diabetes Day, which is 14 November every year, has been access to diabetes care. The sub-theme for this year is know your risks, know your response. That risk basically applies to type 2 diabetes, which is actually the commonest form. About 85 to 90% of people that have diabetes have type 2. So the idea is to let access to diabetes care basically mean access to testing, regular testing, access to medications, understand, access to support from the family, the doctor, and even the government, understand. So basically access to care is an all-encompassing word that talks about access to all aspects of diabetes care, which some people include testing, even getting to make a diagnosis. For example, now 1 in 2 people that have diabetes don't know they have it. So access to testing is very important. We people get to at least have a regular fasting blood glucose check. When you have numbers above 7, you can now decide, okay, this patient has diabetes, you can now start treatment. Access to education, very important to understand, is also an aspect of it. The commonest risk factors include sedentary lifestyle, physical inactivity. People sit in one position. People at the executive can sit in a position for 8 hours, they're not moving around. Understand, that is one. The other one is somebody that's overweight or obese. Overweight and obesity is one of the major drivers of type 2 diabetes in our environment. Family history of diabetes is also very important. And if somebody especially family history of diabetes in a first degree relative, for example, now your mom has diabetes, your mom is your first degree relative, your dad, your sisters, your siblings, those are your first degree relatives. So if any of them has had diabetes, it increases the risks, understand, of another person that is related to them coming down with diabetes. Excessive alcohol consumption, use of a lot of processed food, shawarma, pizza. People eat a lot of things. Most of these processed food that is safe in, most of them, sometimes they put a lot of salt to preserve them. Understand? So a lot of this processed food, junk food that people eat, those are some of the environmental factors. And then even hypertension. And then for a woman that has given birth to a baby that is above 4 kg during pregnancy, there's actually an increased risk. You need to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Understand? Maintaining a healthy lifestyle would mean that you are taking less. Most of the carbohydrates you take should be natural carbohydrates, and those ones that contain a lot of fibers like whole grains, your Quaker oats, your wheat.
Now to Africa, where the United Nations has said it will resume delivering humanitarian supplies and evacuating staff in Niger after the country's ruling junta lifted domestic flight restrictions. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, said the resumption of domestic flight operations will facilitate the monthly delivery of nearly 2.4 metric tons of medical supplies and other aid, as well as critical medical and security evacuations for humanitarian staff. The UN agency, however, added that it expects challenges fueling its aircraft. So in Africa, United States, US has said that it will resume deliveries of food aid across Ethiopia in December, 6 months after they were suspended over corruption allegations. The U.S. International Development Agency, USAID, said significant reforms would ensure that the food supplies reached those who needed them most. It said the aid resumption will be on a one-year trial basis. According to reports, millions of Ethiopians face food shortages because of the effects of conflicts and severe weather. On the foreign scene, the UK Supreme Court has rejected a controversial government plan to send migrants to Rwanda and upheld a lower court ruling that it was unlawful and a major setback for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. A 5-judge panel at the UK's High Court unanimously sided with Court of Appeal judges that the policy was incompatible with Britain's obligations under international treaties. The judges agreed with the lower court's June verdict that Rwanda risked forcibly returning asylum seekers and refugees to a country where they could face persecution in a move known as refoulement. On the foreign scene, Hamas have blamed both Israel and the United States for the Israeli army's raid on Gaza's largest hospital. Hamas, in a statement, said the raid on the Al-Shifa hospital also constituted a failure by the United Nations to defend Palestinians. The statement added that the silence of the United Nations and the betrayal of many countries and governments will not deter Palestinian people from clinging to their land and legitimate national rights. Still to come in the news. Union Berlin manager Horst Fischer leaves club after 5 years. Let's stay with us. Many thanks to stay tuned. We move on now to business, where the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has extended the validity of the old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes indefinitely. The Apex Bank's Director, Corporate Communications, Issa Abdulmumin, in a statement said the decision is in line with international best practices and to forestall a repeat of earlier experiences implementing the policy. The statement added that all banknotes issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria in accordance with Section 20, subsection 5 of the CBN Act 2007 will continue to remain legal tender ad infinitum, even beyond the initial December 31, 2023 deadline. Still in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, has said that the $2.8 billion Ajaokuta-Kaduna-Kano gas pipeline project being constructed by Oil Serve Limited will be inaugurated next month. The Executive Vice President, Upstream, NNPC Limited, Orichemeiwa Eyason, revealed this at the 41st Nigeria Association of Petroleum Explorationists 2023 Expo in Lagos. Eyason said the commitment to delivering the project in December was a testament to the company's commitment to Nigeria's gas master plan. The development comes on the heels of the promise by the Minister of State Gas, Ekwerikpegbo, at the Pai River crossing session in Kwali Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in October. Moving on to health, where stakeholders have pledged to achieve greenhouse gas emissions to as close to zero by 2060 and forge a sustainable path for the environment. They pledged at the national workshop to validate Nigeria's long-term low-emission development strategy organized by the National Council on Climate Change with the support of the 2050 Pathways platform. Speaking, the Director General of the NCCC, Dr. Salisu Dahiru, noted that the workshop marks a significant step towards defining Nigeria's low-emission development pathways for a more resilient future in the face of climate change. Dahiru said the developed long-term low-emission strategy document will be a supporting tool to the submitted revised 2021 nationally determined contribution under the Paris Agreement on Climate Change. Still in health, an international medical humanitarian organization known as Doctors Without Borders says Nigeria is currently experiencing an unprecedented diphtheria outbreak with about 17,000 suspected cases and close to 600 deaths recorded. The organization, in a statement, noted that 70% of the patients admitted in its facilities in Kano State were not fully vaccinated or vaccinated at all. Calling for sustained vaccination, the body said it is the only lasting solution to curb and prevent future outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases such as diphtheria, measles, polio, or tetanus that are responsible for numerous deaths every year. Now to sports, where Union Berlin have announced the painful departure of manager Urs Fischer following a joint decision. Union are in their fifth successive Bundesliga season since Swiss Fischer, aged 57, achieved their first promotion to Germany's top tier in his debut season. The fan-owned club qualified for Europe in each of the past 3 seasons and this year are competing in the Champions League for the first time. However, Union are bottom of the Bundesliga after 11 games this season. Still in sports, Jannik Sinner claimed his first ever victory against Novak Djokovic as the Italian beat the world /1 at the ATP Finals in Turin. Sinner, aged 22, won a third-set tie-break to secure the group match 7-5, 6-7, 7-6 in 3 hours and 9 minutes. The victory was the 36-year-old Djokovic's first defeat since the Wimbledon men's final in July. On to our entertainment news, where Nigerian music sensation Rema has sold out the O2 Arena as he announced himself as on the storage stage that has serially commissioned the international ascension of Nigerian superstars. The Landmax sold-out concert tagged Ravage Uprising, streamed by over 40,000 people. Rema thrilled fans with a collection of his hit songs channeled through his energetic stage presence. The concert was a special moment for the 23-year-old superstar, who joined Davido, Wizkid, Burna Boy, and Asake as the Nigerian artists to have sold out the O2 Arena. Still on entertainment, Guinness World Records (GWR) has said that the Nigerian Helen Williams has set a world record for the longest handmade wig. She achieved the feat in Lagos with her handmade wig of 351.28 meters. The GWR noted that Helen spent 11 days and over 2 million naira in making the wig. That's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 2. My name is Xavier Robert. Bye for now.